Welcome to Book 4 of the Odyssey, Telemachus and Sparta.
In Book 4 of the Odyssey, Telemachus and Pisistratus arrive in Sparta to visit King Menelaus. When they get there, Menelaus is actually hosting a wedding celebration for his children. The palace is described as incredibly rich and full of gold, silver, and bronze. This is almost like the palace of Zeus. This shows how much wealth some Greek kings gained after the Trojan War, but it also creates a contrast. While Menelaus lives comfortably, Odysseus is still missing and suffering.
Another important idea in the scene is hospitality, which is a major theme in the Odyssey. Menelaus welcomes Telemachus and Pisistratus, feeds them, and lets them rest before even asking who they are. This reflects the Greek value of xenia, which means guests must be treated with respect. This is interesting because later we see the opposite behavior in Ithaca, where the suitors disrespect Odysseus' home and consume all his resources.
Eventually, Helen notices that Telemachus looks just like Odysseus and realizes who he is. Both Helen and Menelaus begin telling stories about Odysseus during the Trojan War. One famous example is when Helen tried to trick the Greek soldiers hiding inside the Trojan horse by imitating their wives' voices. Some soldiers almost responded, but Odysseus stopped them, showing his intelligence and his self-control.
That story helps remind us that Odysseus is not known for just strength, but for cleverness and strategic thinking. Hearing these stories also affects Telemachus emotionally. He begins to understand how respected his father was, which makes him realize the kind of legacy he's expected to live up to.
Menelaus then tells Telemachus something important he learned while traveling. He explains that he once captured the sea god, Proteus, who can change shape and reveal the truth. Proteus told him that Odysseus is still alive but trapped on the island of the goddess Calypso. This moment is very important because it confirms that Odysseus survived the war and that he's still trying to return home.
At the same time, the story shifts back to Ithaca, where the suitors discover that Telemachus has left to search for news about his father. Instead of respecting him, they become worried that he might gain support or power. Because of this, they secretly plan to ambush him and kill him when he returns home.
Meanwhile, Penelope learns that her son has left Ithaca. She becomes extremely worried because she knows that the suitors are dangerous. This moment shows how much stress and uncertainty Penelope has been living while Odysseus has been gone.
But Athena helps again. She sends a dreamlike vision to comfort Penelope and reassure her that Telemachus will return safely. This reminds us that the gods are constantly influencing events and protecting certain characters.
So overall, Book 4 does more than just tell us about Odysseus. It develops important themes like hospitality, loyalty, and reputation. We see good leadership and generosity from Menelaus, while the suitors represent greed and disrespect.
It also builds suspense in the story. Telemachus learns that his father is alive, but now his own life is in danger. At the same time, Odysseus is still trapped far away. These parallel struggles make the audience wonder how both father and son will survive and eventually reunite.
This concludes the Odyssey, Book 4.
This is Book 5 of the Odyssey, The Escape from Calypso. As Odysseus is trapped in Ogygia with the goddess Calypso, the gods hold a council over his fate. Athena expresses her worry that Odysseus will be trapped there forever to the rest of the gods. At this point, he has no oars, no ships, and no people around him. Athena requests that she use her skill to help bring Telemachus back to his family, additionally to help push away the suitors. Zeus complies with her request to save Telemachus so that she may use her skill to help prevent the suitors, and sends Hermes as a messenger to Calypso to bring Odysseus to the Phaeacians, a legendary seafaring peoples. Hermes comes to Calypso's island asking for Odysseus back. At first, Hermes states that Calypso has done wrong and should allow Odysseus to return home. Calypso, wanting a human at her disposal, argues that she never gets a chance at having one without the gods having a grudge and pushing her to let them go. However, she allows him to go, not wanting to anger Zeus. When Calypso tells Odysseus that he needs to leave, he lets out his longing anger and yells at Calypso, saying that she is trying to deceive him. He then proceeds to ask for her oath, and she responds with it.
After Odysseus makes Calypso take an oath, Calypso tries to say that if Odysseus stayed with her, he could be immortal and stay with her forever. After seeing Odysseus' dedication to going home, Calypso gives up and gives him weapons to assist him. She gives him a pickaxe, an axe, and other clean clothes. Odysseus began to make a raft to try and sail away from Ogygia. He packed his supplies and he set sail. After sailing, Odysseus stops at Mount Solyma. Poseidon spotted Odysseus' raft soon after. Poseidon, still angry from what Odysseus did to his Cyclops son, Polyphemus, he vows he will cause Odysseus to have so much misery that he'll have a whole sea of troubles. He barrages his raft with huge gusts of wind, and Odysseus screams out, saying how frustrated he is, hoping that he died with his Greek friends in the Trojan War. Just after, a huge wave comes and flips over his raft and breaks it. Odysseus is flung into the cold, angry Mediterranean. He swam hard to stay afloat.
Seeing Odysseus being battered by the north, east, south, and west winds, the sea nymph Ino took pity on him. Ino tells him to strip off his clothes, heavy with water, and to abandon his raft and swim to Phaeacia instead. She gives him her immortal scarf, telling him that he will need not fear death while wearing it, but he should cast it away from land once he reaches Phaeacia. Odysseus, skeptical of the gods, pledges they'll only swim if the last timbers of his raft are completely destroyed. Poseidon promptly sends a wave to destroy his raft, delighting in his pain and promising more suffering to come. Athena then helps Odysseus by stopping all of the winds except Boreas, god of the north wind, whom she rouses. She also smooths the waves for Odysseus. The next morning, Odysseus sees the shore of Phaeacia nearby, still being skeptical of the gods. Then, a large wave sends him all the way to the shore, almost killing him if it weren't for the protection of Athena. He battered across the shore until he came upon the mouth of a river and looks for a safe place to sleep. He goes into the woods and finds shelter under 2 bushes of thorn and olive, plants of protection and Athena. The book ends with Athena putting Odysseus to sleep under these bushes. This is the end of Book 4 and 5. Thank you for listening to our presentation.